Hi, you're listening to the Rav Dessler Giving Podcast with me, Avram Ziedman. Join us as we weave together philosophy, psychology, and Kabbalah to uncover a new depth to what it means to being a giver. Let me ask you a chicken-egg type question. What comes first? Is it to the people that I love, I give, or the people I give, I love? And the answer is found in the Hebrew word for love. Whenever we're not sure about a certain concept, if we always go to the Hebrew, the biblical source, then it always shows us that much more depth. The root of the word love in Hebrew is ahav, aleph, hey, base. And with these three letters, we're now going to see what is true love. Aleph means I. Now when I say I, I'm referring to the true me, or the animalistic side, the soul. It's interesting to note actually that whenever referring to humans, almost always in Hebrew, it begins with an aleph. So the word ani, I, begins with an aleph. The word for father, abba. The word for mother, imma. We, anachnu. A man, ish. Woman, isha. All these words begin with an aleph because each one of these people have a soul. So aleph, in short, means I, one. Let's look at the other side. Base, bet. Bet means two, or another. Interesting, by the way, that an av and an em, a father and a mother, create a ben and a bas, a son and a daughter. Generation aleph aleph create generation base base, bet bet. Aleph aleph creates bet bet. So therefore, base, bet means to another. Okie dokie. Let's look at the middle letter hey. The word hey, spelt out, means give. And we see this in the Talmud, Gemara Baba Metzia, where there's a concept called heilach, I'm going to give to you what belongs to you. So, wow. If you take the root of the word love, you have aleph, an individual, hey, giving, base, to another person. Love is when one person gives to another. Giving causes love. And you can see this. Who loves whom more? Do parents love kids more, or the children love the parents more? The parents love the children more. Why? Because they've had more opportunities to be able to give. Giving causes love. Which means if there is somebody whom you do not like, how do you get to love the person? You give. The more you give, the more love. And with this, we can answer a question which I was bothered with for a long time. Imagine I put a gun against your head. Can I force you to love me? Love me, or else I'll blow your brains out. Can I force you to love me? No, you can't force me to love. Oh, really? Well, if that's the case, we have a fundamental issue here. You see, we say in the Shema, V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha, you shall love God. This is not a nice thing to do, an optional extra. Let me read it to you. It's, you shall love God. But I don't. But you got to. But I don't. What do you mean? It's one of the 6 mitzvot you have to keep continuously. You must love God. But I don't. You got to. Do it! What do you want from me? If I don't love God, I don't love God. How can you force someone to love God? How can God create a mitzvah, a command, saying I have to love God? Either I do. If I don't, I don't. You can't tell me I have to love God. And what about this other mitzvah? V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your neighbor as yourself. But I don't. But you've got to. Okay, very nice, I've got to, but what do you want from me? If I don't love the person, I don't love the person. How can you tell me that I have to love? It's not an option. If I love them, I love them. If not, not. And the answer given by Maimonides, the Rambam, is that the mitzvah is not that you must have a forced emotion. The mitzvah is you have to do that which is going to cause the emotion. It doesn't say you have to love God. It says you have to have ahava for God. It doesn't say you have to love your neighbor. It says you have to have ahava to your neighbor, meaning you have to give. When you give, giving causes love. Now, how can you give to God? There's nothing you can give to God. In this sense, it means investing in the relationship. The Rambam says that when you focus on everything that God does for us, when you give, so to speak, to the relationship, and you focus on the relationship, and you focus on everything that God's done to us, through that focus, ultimately, that will lead to the emotion, which means the mitzvah of V'ahavta Hashem Elokecha is not to have the emotion. The mitzvah is to give, which will lead ultimately to the emotion. The mitzvah v'ahavta l'recha kamocha is not have an emotion. Rather, do acts of giving. Focus on the other person, and through doing that, that will result in the emotion of love. Now, why should that be? What is a deeper psyche to understand why, if I give, that causes me to love others? That we're going to see in the next podcast. Be great. Be a giver, because giving causes love. This podcast was proudly brought to you by Gift, where we're on a mission to inspire and enable lifelong giving. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to continue exploring the art of giving with us, please subscribe